I have several of the novice signs set up so you can see how I approach each sign, exactly where I do the exercise in relationship to the sign, and how I want my dog's position to be. So at the start line, your dog does not have to be in any position. It can be a sit down or stand. I like to ask my dog to sit. I ask them to get in heel position. Heel means not only sit next to me, but pay attention. Mavy heel, good boy, girl. I start out with the signs on my right side. Maverick heel. Halt. I stop just to the left of the sign and in front so I can see what it says. Heel. Number 4 is halt, which means sit, and then down. Good girl. I want to make sure my dog is all the way down. Heel. Change of direction is in front of the sign. That's number 5 right. Number 6 left in front of the sign. Good girl. About turn is number 7. I do that in front of the sign. About U-turn is number 8. I perform that in front of the sign. 270 right is number 9. I want to make as small of a circle as I can in relationship to my dog and her capabilities. So with me, I can actually do a pivot. So I'll show you that again. Heel. About turn in front of the sign. 270 left to change the direction in front of the sign. As small of a circle as my dog is capable of performing that left circle. Come on, sweetie. The number 11 sign is 360 right. I'm going to perform as small of a circle as my dog is capable of performing, just to the left of the sign. Heel. And just enough in front of it so I can see what I'm supposed to do. Number 12, 360 left. As tight of a circle as my dog's size and capability. Number 13, call dog front. You're allowed to back up. 2, 3, 4 steps is fine. I want a straight front. Finish right and forward. Heel. As soon as she's out of my way, I'm going to take off. Call front. Number 14, finish left and go forward. Number 15, call front. Good girl, sit. Again, I can back up a couple steps to get that straight front. The straighter the front, the less points you're going to have taken off. Finish right and sit. Heel. Halt. You want to make sure your dog is sitting before you take off. Heel. Call front is number 16. Finish left and halt. Do this. An obvious sit before you take off again. Good girl. Number 17 is slow pace. Obvious change of speed, about half of normal, almost always followed by normal. 18 is fast, almost always followed by normal. Then moving side step. And it's just one step. That moving side step is in front of the sign. Change of direction is always in front of the sign. Almost everything else, you keep that sign on your right side. Number 21 is spiral right, dog on the outside. So you're going to approach the cones. Go all the way to the third cone. Heel. Back to the first. Good girl. To the second cone, wrap around it. Back to the first and completely wrap around that first cone. Good girly. Number 22. Spiral left, dog on the inside. Go all the way to the third cone. Wrap back to the first. To the second cone. Wrap back to the first. And completely wrap around that first cone. Good girly. After the spiral, the course can go anywhere, left, right, back, or front. And so that would determine how you leave that very first cone that you wrapped around at the end of the spiral. Heel. Number 23 is straight figure 8 weave twice. So you're going to enter the way you would on an agility course where the cone is next to your dog. This is one of the few times you have that sign on your left side, although the cones could be on the left and the judge could have set the sign off to the right. But a lot of times that sign is set up with the first cone. So straight figure 8 weave twice, get back, heel, you approach it, enter between 1 and 2, zigzag back and forth, wrap the fourth cone, and go back the way you came. Good girl. Nice job. Good girlie. Number 24 is serpentine. Weave only once. So I'm going to enter the same way I did number 23. Heel. Come in between 1 and 2. Wiggle back and forth. And then go on to the next one. Number 25 is halt. 1 step halt. Heel. Sit. 2 steps halt. 1, 2. Stop. Sit. Good girl. 3 steps halt. 1, 2, 3. Stop. Sit. Good girl. Number 26 is call front, step back, 1, 2, and 3 steps. So heel, Maverick, come. I'm allowed to back up a couple steps to get her straight. Then 1 step back, come. And she stops and sits. 2 steps back. 1, 2, stop and sit. 3 steps back. 1, 2, 3, stop and sit. And then I just get her out of the way so I can go forward. Good girl. Nice job. About turn. Number 27 is stop and down. I want to make sure all 4 points are touching the ground, her elbows, and then I can take off. Heel. Number 28 is halt. And then a fast forward from a sit. Heel, which is almost always followed by normal. Number 29 is left about turn, which is comparable to the Schützen turn. Good girl. And then number 30 is halt. The dog sits, stay. I walk around. When I get back in the heel position, I want to pause, so I put both my feet together before I continue on. Sign number 31 is halt. So the dog sits, then down and walk around your dog. So I'm approaching at a brisk pace. I stop, my dog sits. I ask her to down. I want to make sure her elbows are down, stay. I walk around. I pause with both my feet together before I go on. Heel, the figure 8. I need to cross through the center 2 times. So I did 1, 2, and 3. Sign number 33 is halt. So the dog sits. It's a change of pace. So I perform that in front of the sign. And then right turn, heel. Halt is the performing in front of the sign. Now left turn, heel. Number 35 is call front, heel. The dog sits in front, stay. I return to heel. Feet together and then take off. Good girl. Good. Number 36 is halt. The dog sits and then slow forward from a sit. It's an obvious slow, almost always followed by a normal. The next one, 37, is loop right, loop left. So they're extreme loops. And then number 39 is diagonal right, which is just a slight turn. And number 40 is diagonal left, which is just a slight turn. Good girly. Our last 2 novice signs, number 41 is offset serpentine to the right, heel. So the first cone is on the left. You take an extreme right, an extreme left. Good girly. And then number 42, offset serpentine to the left. So you go on the left side of the cone, make an extreme left, an extreme right. And then you always finish every course with the number 2 sign, which is finish. And then you leave the ring with your dog under control. If it's novice intermediate, it's on leash. If it's the upper levels, you put the leash on and you exit the ring under control. All right, some of the things that will get your points deducted at the novice level. If you have a tight leash, a lot of judges will take a point off for every tight leash incident. So if you're constantly pulling on it, you could get a lot of points taken off. A lot of judges will take points off for every single time your dog vocalizes. So I don't know if you heard Maverick, where at the first exercises she was vocalizing and doing some whining. Some judges would take a point off for every single time they whine. Some judges would lump all of your tight leash at one exercise together. So you might have had a tight leash 2 or 3 times approaching an exercise. Some judges would take 2 or 3 points off. Other judges would consider that one tight leash event because it's that one exercise and only take 1 point off. The same thing goes for vocalization. Some judges will take a point off for every time your dog whines or barks. But if you have 2 or 3 barks at one exercise, some judges will consider that one event and just take a point off at that one exercise. So it depends on the judge. It may depend on how extreme your dog's behavior is. Same thing goes for a dog out of position. If they're out of position, some judges may take a point off every single time they're out of position. But if they're out of position 3 times during one figure 8, some judges may take only 1 point off because that's one exercise, so they'll consider it one event, where other judges may take 3 or 4 points off if they're out of position, come back in, out of position, come back in, out of position, come back in at the same exercise.